Salespeople versus closers, which are better? I personally love this topic because it creates so much banter in the community, but let's hit the road. Well, listen, if you are busy walking your prospects through the pitch, you're following the script, and you're sitting there like a good boy nodding your head, guess what? You are not a closer and you cannot close. You're a glorified order taker or a salesperson, okay? The difference is a sales rep yaps, talks about the methods, talks about their product a lot, talks about their service a lot. And, well, a closer actually closes the deals, okay? And today in this video, I'll show you exactly what separates the two and how only one of them gets the dough. Now, in order to do that, let's hop right into the stuff that I wrote out here. Now, there are 5 core sections to this, okay? So let's walk through them one by one. The first is sales reps walks the process and closers control the outcome. Okay, super important. We don't want to just walk the walk, right? We want to talk the talk. Okay, so salespeople are just tour guides. Okay, they say things like, here's our offer, here's the value, and if you're maybe interested, hit me up a little bit later if you're interested. Okay, well, closers, they literally start from, or they work from right to left. They start from the end. Okay, they start from the close. Okay, they control the frame, they control the tempo. They get decisions, not maybes, okay? Again, the second part to this element is that, salespeople, they follow scripts, okay? Closers use frameworks. If you've been watching the channel for a while, I praise frameworks over scripts, okay? When you get started, maybe if you're a newbie and you're new to closing, scripts will help you. But guys, if you're watching this, you should be a top closer, top setter, or a very good founder, okay, or a sales manager. At that point in time, you should be teaching frameworks, not scripts, okay? Because salespeople literally treat scripts like they are, gospel. They are from above, okay? And closers will either use them, and if they do use them, they actually use them as tools, okay? Which is important. Now, again, if they say something like, oh yeah, the script said I should ask this now, wrong. Okay, the script means nothing. The script is giving you the messaging, the path, right? It's carving the path, right? But if you walk from point A, let's just say you walk through the desert, right? And you walk on the same path every single day, right? But you walk with a different person every single day. Are you going to be having the same conversations every single day? No. So use that methodology and analogy with sales as well, right? You know the path that needs to be walked. Closers think that has the goal. They know exactly how long it's going to get there. They know what needs to be said. They know which questions they should ask that person because they've done their research prior, so that they know which answers they're going to get, and they're going to use those answers to get them to the end point or the end post. Okay? Very important. Closers use scripts like tools, but they use frameworks as weapons, okay? Again, closers get creative. They use loops, they pivot, they lead the conversation. They're always in control. Salespeople, they use scripts to hide, and they ignore real objections. They basically strike away from objections, and they don't know how to tackle them, okay? Closers use scripts to strike when it's hot, okay? And mainly, closers don't even use freaking scripts in the first place. They use frameworks, okay? Now again, this is one thing that I see that doesn't get used a lot and should be used a lot, and we use this a lot when training closers, okay? Closers simply ask for the close, okay? 9 times out of 10, when we look at decreasing the sales cycle, right? What you need to be asking for and what you need to be coaching is that the people that have the longer sales cycle, generally they do not know how to ask for the close, okay? So that is one thing that we need to take into account here. If you're a closer, or if you're a salesperson training a closer, ask for the close. Closers ask for the close way more than salespeople, right? They're just not scared to do it, and it needs to come off very naturally, okay? And this is where, a lot of reps go wrong. They say something like, so what do you think? What do you think about this, right? What do you think? Here's how closers will ask this, okay? They'll ask something, would it be fair if we set a date to make a decision by? Let's just say the lead's name is Betty again, right? Betty, can we perhaps agree to lock this in 2 weeks from today? Would that give you enough time to make a decision? They're asking for the close. They're setting a timeline because your close rate is super important. But what's more important is your sales cycle. The quicker you can close somebody, the more calls you can take in an annualized period, which means the more money you're going to make. This is one KPI that is so incredibly overlooked, and I want you to start concentrating on that, okay? If you don't ask for a close, you're not going to get one, period, okay? That's just how things work, okay? And again, I'm moving into the fourth pillar here. If your sales calls, right, feel like they're educational calls, right, you are missing the mark, okay? Closers, they create momentum, okay? Salespeople, they try and educate, they try and sell, they try and talk about the product's features, the service, you know, how it works, how the service works. Again, if your calls feel like TED Talks, something is off, okay? Educational calls do not breed urgency, okay? One thing that closers do is that they pre-frame expectations. They say shit like, you know, the goal of this call is to see if we're a good fit, and if we are, we'll walk you through the next steps. Sound fair? Okay, you're setting the goal, you're leading the call. Okay, salespeople, you know, they'll say stuff like, hope it goes well, you know, let me know if you're interested. If somebody pushes back, they just say, okay, no, that's okay. Oh, I need more time to think about it. No worries, okay, cool, just hit me up when you're ready. No, those are salespeople. You know, that's how they handle it. Closers create decisive energy. They set the tone. They lead the call. Okay, this is super important that you wanna lead everything. Okay, if you don't lead, this is not gonna go well for you. Okay. Now the fifth pillar here, which is so very important, is that, you know, salespeople stretch the sales cycle, right? They want to create friends. They give people too much time to make a decision, and more importantly, they don't ask for the close, right? They don't ask, okay, can we, you know, make a decision in 2 weeks from now? Would that be fair if we set a date, right? They ask for it. Right? And by doing so, they compress the time it takes to get a close, okay? Again, reps, you know, sales reps, they won't ask for a timeline. Oh, I don't want to pressure them, you know, I just want to let them make the decision in time. No, bullshit, right? They're showing up to the call for a reason. It is your duty as a closer, right? If you know for a fact that your product or service actually helps that person and you've done your discovery, right? And you know what their pain point is and what they're struggling with, and if you solidly believe that your product or service is a solution to the problem they're having, it is your duty to get them across the line. It is your duty, and that is your job, is ultimately showing them the value. Making them realize what is in your head, conveying it to them, right? And as a salesperson, you shouldn't be thinking the whole time, oh, commission this, commission get that, right? You should be thinking specifically, how can I help this person, right? And if you're selling an offer that generally helps people, you should be going balls to the wall with this, okay? And actually, you're not pressurizing people. You're asking them for a timeline, right? And by doing so, you're helping them by making them accountable, and they're gonna thank you for that later, right? Once they start using your product and service and they see the difference, they're going to come back and they're really going to like you for doing that, okay? Again, closers create timelines, right? And you can say stuff like, let's align on a decision date, Betty. Does 2 weeks from today work for you to make a decision? Okay? Ask for it. You know, salespeople chase for months, closers close in days, right? And that is a saying that's so true because closers, they specifically, again, ask for a date, ask for confirmation, they lead the call, they control the frame, where salespeople are just hunky-dory all over the place. They're literally glorified order takers. So please do what closers do. It's small tweaks here and there that sets you or basically sets you above the rest from everybody else, okay? So really, I hope this video helped. Act like a closer, don't look like a glorified salesperson, because if you're a glorified order taker or a salesperson, you are not going to make it long in your organization. So I hope this video helped, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.